All right, let's jump straight into this tactical breakdown of the epic warrior dragon, Vermax. We're tearing right into the game's mechanics, crunching the hard data, and looking at the absolute latest community testing so you can totally dominate the battlefield.
Today's briefing hits 5 key areas. Meet Vermax, skills and habits, weighing the pros and cons, top dragon synergies, and finally, the best battlefield formations.
Section 1. Meet Vermax, the Restless Fire.
You probably know him for securing oaths up in the Eyrie and Winterfell, right? Well, Vermax is this incredible symbol of rising fire and untested destiny. Bound to Jacqueries Valerion, he brings this really unique, almost restless energy to your roster. And look, he isn't just about raw brute strength. Having him on the battlefield is really about elevating the units and the other dragons around him.
When it comes to actual combat, he's an epic warrior with some seriously crucial affinities for cavalry and shield bearers. And honestly, this makes him incredibly adaptable. This specific troop affinity is a massive deal because it gives you the flexibility to mold your marching armies right around his capabilities, all without sacrificing those super valuable innate stat bonuses you get when you properly match your troops to your dragon.
Moving on to Section 2. Skills and Habits, the Buffer's Toolkit.
Let's talk about his core command skill, Spreading Blaze. This triggers right after basic attacks, dealing damage and tossing out these amazing stacking buffs to any ally that deals tactical damage. Now here is why this is an absolute game changer. This chance actually repeats if any enemy deals fire damage. Think about that for a second. If you're playing into a fire-heavy meta, Vermax literally turns the enemy's own damage type into a continuous, snowballing buff engine for your own tactical hitters. It's brilliant.
And his habits just build on that. Take Infernal Force. It heavily buffs fire damage on your left flank and physical damage on your right flank, specifically early on, like in rounds 1 through 3. Meanwhile, you've got Mental Might, dropping immense stat boosts to strength and intelligence right out of the gate. Oh, and his Gift of Fire habit? That applies a crucial resistance buff that scales based on how many enemies are actively burning. It's the perfect example of how his entire kit is engineered to snowball both your team's survivability and your overall damage at the exact same time.
But here's the catch, and it all comes down to this number, 6. Players strongly recommend getting Vermax up to 6 stars if you really want those buffering capabilities to pop off. Digging into the community testing, it's pretty undeniable. If you're running him below 4 stars, you're just not going to see his true value. It's really at 6 stars and beyond where he unlocks that absolute top-tier meta-defining potential.
All right, Section 3. Weighing Pros and Cons, the Reality Check.
So while he is without a doubt an elite buffer for tactical and fire damage, the flip side is his niche reliance on very specific army compositions, not to mention that steep investment we just talked about. You can't just plug Vermax into some random team and expect magic to happen. He completely demands specific damage types around him to trigger those buffs. Plus, you really have to commit to starring him up. But hey, if you actually meet those conditions, he is an absolute powerhouse.
Which brings us to a massive debate in the community right now, Velar versus Vermax. Who is actually the superior buffer? Tons of players find themselves completely torn between these two epic dragons when they're looking for that reliable support anchor for their lineup.
Well, the community sentiment on this is actually pretty clear. Vermax's highly focused buffs usually outshine Velar's generalized kit, assuming you place him correctly. Like players have been pointing out Velar's buffs, like a 12% cleanse or a 20% advantage, they can just feel a bit too low and generalized. Vermax, on the other hand, hyper-focuses his support. It deeply rewards you if you take the time to build a highly synergistic team around him.
That takes us to Section 4, Top Dragon Synergies, Building the Web.
So who does he actually work best with? Well, he synergizes flawlessly with Calspire's tactical damage. He also forms this incredibly deadly trio with Caraxes and Syrax by feeding directly into their fire damage needs. Caraxes is a prime example here. He sits at a relatively low 35% activation chance for his command skill, so Vermax's ability to supercharge those activations is absolutely vital. Essentially, he takes these heavy-hitting but sometimes inconsistent dragons and turns them into highly reliable damage engines.
And finally, Section 5. Best Battlefield Formations, Tactical Placement. If you're going for an all-out damage build, try this. Put Syrax on the left flank, drop Caraxes in the vanguard position to snatch up that sweet 16% fire damage boost, and place Vermax on the right flank to supercharge their activations. Now, quick warning, this is a very fast, very aggressive formation. It's a bit squishy, and yeah, you might get the odd 50-50 result where you take a hit, but it accelerates so incredibly fast that it can literally melt the enemy frontline before they even have a chance to set up.
Now, if you want to strictly capitalize on his spreading blaze skill, run Sheepstealer on the left, put Calspire in the vanguard to just gobble up those tactical buffs, and keep Vermax on the right. Because Vermax specifically stacks buffs on allies dealing tactical damage, Calspire transforms into an absolute monster in this setup. He'll just chew straight through enemy troops while Vermax feeds him those buffs round after round.
Or maybe you want a tankier approach. Running Malachite and Volgar alongside Vermax makes sure his tactical damage boosts are perfectly utilized, all while actually keeping your army alive. This gives you a much safer, incredibly reliable shield bearer variant. Think of it like this. Malachite keeps everyone healed up, Volgar handles the physical damage and the taunts, and Vermax, he's there ensuring your overall damage output doesn't just drop off a cliff despite playing such a defensive setup.
So, with these stats and community-tested formations in your back pocket, how are you going to harness Vermax's untested destiny in your next major siege? Are you going to go all in on that aggressive glass cannon fire build, or are you leaning toward a calculated, shield-heavy tactical strike? The hard data is there, the synergies are totally proven, and the battlefield is yours to command. But as the meta inevitably shifts, who will you end up pairing him with next?